All right, let's wrap this up. We just have one more section that we're going to do together. But before we do that, I did want to kind of go a little bit slowly and have the text full screen for you so that if you missed anything or if you needed to reread something, it's there. So I'm just going to kind of not really talk for a minute and just kind of let you look, and I'll move it. So you could pause it here if you need any of these boxes. Pause it here if you need any of these boxes. Pause it here if you need any of these boxes. Pause it here if you need these. And go ahead and pause it here if you need these. I will say I did add something between. I just added an additional quote right here for theme. I added that because if if the theme is not just about the flowers, but it's also about how the seasons change, then you do need the quotes that show spring beating winter, not just the creation of these flowers and the old man being gone. So I added that. So you could see that. Okay, so let's move on to the myth analysis. Remember, this is the skeleton paragraph that I've given you where you need to merge your words with my words. I started it already and I'm going to finish it. So if you look here, it says the title of my text is, and on yours you have that parentheses, dot to dot parentheses where you have to add something. I'm showing you here that I have added the title, the story of the first snowdrops. So I added that, I underlined that. So that's there. And then we come back to the skeleton, and I believe that it was called that because parenthesis, dot to dot, parenthesis, I've added the myth is about a flower called a snowdrop and how it was created. Bam. A quote from the myth that supports the title of my text is, quote, there were little white snowdrops, the first flowers of spring, the only flowers that could remember the winter, end quote, okay? So what I really want you to see here is how seamlessly the words I'm adding into the skeleton go with the skeleton, okay? So let's move on. This myth was written in third person. Remember, I am number one, you are number two, everyone else is number three. And I know that there's a lot of I's in this myth. I froze the lake while I unfroze it. I made the birds leave while I made the birds come back. But what's important is when they're not talking. And when they're not talking, it doesn't say I, it says he. It talks about the old man. He was gone. When it talks about spring, it says the young man. He turned to say goodbye. So there's a lot of he's. So there we go. So this myth was written in third person point of view because the narrator was an outsider. Hint, hint. First person point of view, insider. Third person point of view, outsider. So the person was an outsider in the story. All right. An example to prove the point of view is, now I need to go back to the text and I need to look for a sentence that shows third person point of view. So I'm going to bring my text back up. I'm going to go to the very beginning where it says, an old man sat alone in his house. It's not saying I sat alone in the house. It's not saying you sat alone in the house. It's saying this guy, he sat alone in his house. So I'm just going to steal that sentence. I could take any sentence that said he or she that's not a quote. Okay. So I'm going to put it over here. Again, I'm going to get rid of my symbol, but I'm going to put my quote inside the quotes. Wonderful. All right, moving on to my skeleton. Let me make it bigger. The author's main purpose for creating this myth was to inform, because he's informing us on how the snowdrop flower was created. So, where am I? The author's main purpose for creating this myth was to inform the reader about the creation of the first snowdrop flower and the seasons changing. All right. The main character's name was, now here you got to make a decision. You can either say that the main character's name was Winter, or you could say that the main character's name was Spring. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here, really. They're both integral parts in this story. You cannot have this story without one of them. So they're both the main character. So it's just up to you of which one you want to write about. I'm going to talk about the old man. So I'm going to say the main character's name was Winter. An adjective to describe this character is that he was cold, lonely, and a little arrogant. Remember, he said, I'm the best. I'm the greatest. Look at all the stuff I did. So he's arrogant. Cold, you kind of get that in the beginning. It says he doesn't mind the dark. He doesn't mind the gloomy. He doesn't mind the shadows. That kind of gives off a cold personality. And then later in the story, when we find out that he is Winter, it's like, duh, he's cold. Okay, so a supporting quote for the above adjective. What was the above adjective? What was the above adjective? Cold, lonely, arrogant. So we need a quote that shows that. So again, we come back to our text and we look and we say that he didn't care about the shadows or the darkness. All he was thinking about was all the good stuff that he did. This shows he's cold, lonely, and there we go. And with that, we are done. We are done with our myth analysis. I am not, oh, no, we're not done. I'm not going to do section 4 with you because this is your opinion about this myth. This is your opinion on whether or not it's an A, B, C, D, or F. So I'm not going to do that one with you. However, I am going to talk about section 5. Usually myths are retold and retold and retold and retold. And they're remade and they're reshaped. And so really this section is all about whether or not you think this story connects to any other story that you've heard of in your life. This might be, it might connect with a story that has nothing to do with seasons. It just has two people fighting about who's better and then one disappears. And that's fine because myths get retold in different ways. So I'm not going to do section 5 with you. I just wanted to explain section 5 with you. So that's it. I'm going to put this paragraph up here one more time so that you could pause it here if you want and make sure you have everything in that paragraph. And that's it. So get your myth analysis number 1 done because on Monday you're getting a second myth and you're going to do another analysis by yourself. See you later, guys.